In my town, there's this old library that hardly anyone visits anymore. You know the kind of place: high ceilings, tall, arched windows, and shelves that smell like paper and time itself. It's always so quiet. Sunlight streams through the dusty air, and you can see tiny specks floating like stars in the golden beams. It's my go-to spot when I just need some real silence, a place to escape the noise of the world. One evening, I was there as the sun started to set. The light outside was turning a deep orange, and the lamps inside the library began to glow, casting long, soft shadows. The librarian was getting ready to close, but I decided to wander to the very back, to the section where they keep the oldest, most forgotten books. It's always dimmer there, the light softer, almost like honey. I loved running my fingers along the spines of the old leather-bound books, feeling the history in them. And that's when I heard it. It was a whisper, just a gentle, faint sound. Not words, not yet, just a soft, warm murmur, like someone trying to get my attention without being rude. I stopped, my hand hovering over a dusty spine, and listened. The air was completely still. I turned around, expecting to see another late reader, maybe the librarian tidying up, but there was no one. The aisle was empty. The entire section was deserted. It was me. And that whisper, which seemed to drift through the shelves like a quiet, invisible breeze. I should have been spooked, right? A disembodied whisper in an empty library sounds like the beginning of a horror movie. But it wasn't scary at all. In fact, it felt comforting. It was strange, I know, but the sound had a warmth to it, a gentleness that felt more like a kind presence than a ghostly one. It felt like someone was trying to guide me, to show me something. My heart wasn't pounding with fear. It was beating with a quiet curiosity. The whisper came again, a little clearer this time, seeming to originate from the far end of the row. I hesitated for a moment, then my curiosity won. I started walking slowly, my footsteps echoing softly on the old wooden floor. I followed the sound, my eyes scanning the shelves, trying to pinpoint its source. It led me to the very corner of the last shelf, tucked away in the darkest part of the aisle. And there, on the floor, was a single book. It was lying open, as if it had just fallen. But what was truly strange was its cover. It seemed to be glowing with a faint, subtle light, a soft luminescence in the dimness. I knelt down, my gaze fixed on it. As I reached out and picked it up, the whisper grew clearer, calmer, forming into words that resonated not just in my ears, but somewhere deeper inside me. You need this tonight. The voice was as soft as velvet, filled with an unexplainable understanding. My hands trembled slightly as I opened the book. The pages were filled with handwritten script, elegant and flowing. It wasn't a novel or a history text. It was a collection of gentle stories, quiet memories, and profound thoughts. It felt like reading someone's personal journal, but it was more than that. Each sentence seemed to speak directly to me, addressing the very feelings I'd been carrying inside. It was soothing, understanding, and incredibly warm. It was like the author knew me, even though I had no idea who they were. I didn't even think about the time. I just sat down on the floor, right there in the dusty corner of the library, and read. The world outside faded away. The worries that had been weighing on my mind dissolved with every page I turned. I read until the last bit of daylight disappeared and the library was cloaked in darkness, with only the faint glow from the book illuminating the words. It felt like I was wrapped in a blanket of peace. Finally, when I read the last page, I closed the book gently. I stood up, my legs a bit stiff, and realized hours had passed. The library was completely dark and silent, except for the quiet hum of the old building. As I turned to leave, the whisper brushed past me one last time, as soft as a passing sigh. Come back when your heart needs quiet. It was a promise, an invitation. I clutched the book to my chest and made my way to the now locked front doors, but the old night exit was thankfully still open. The next day, I couldn't wait to go back. I needed to see that book again, to understand what it was. I went straight to the same corner, but the spot on the floor was empty. I searched the entire shelf, then the surrounding ones. Nothing. I went to the front desk and asked the librarian, describing the glowing cover and the handwritten pages. She looked at me kindly, but shook her head. There was no such book in their catalog. It was as if it had never existed. I was disappointed, of course, but I wasn't sad. I knew the book and the whisper were real. I've been back to that library many times since. The book itself never reappeared. But sometimes, when the day has been particularly heavy and my heart needs quiet, I'll be standing among the shelves, and I'll hear it again. That soft, gentle whisper. It no longer speaks in words, but it doesn't need to. It guides me, every single time, to exactly the right book. A collection of poems, a forgotten novel, a book of philosophy. Whatever I need to find a little peace that day. It's like there's a quiet guardian watching over me, a silent friend living between the pages. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever had a moment of unexpected magic in a quiet place, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the quiet corners of the world. See you next time.